evening and welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television.
We bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honorable
Today's edition of the show is a man you know so well, Emmanuel Michael. Good evening to you and welcome to Sports Extraordinary.
Good evening to you, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there. Always glad to be back here with you. Last night was a Champions League night and very, very excited, with the match that went on yesterday. And today promises to be another beautiful night of Champions League football.
Of course, today promises to be another interesting night in the UEFA Champions League. But before we talk about the UEFA Champions League, let's take a look at all the matters revolving around the world of sports at the moment. As the Minister of Sport Development if you ask me on this one. But what do you make of it? Do you think at this point in time?
I strongly believe that if there's anything to go by what the Honorable Minister of Sport, just said in that interaction session with, sport fans across Nigeria, if there's anything to go by his word of emphatic statement out there, I think it's the right step in the right direction for me. Because school, sport is one area that we've neglected for a long time right now. Because unlike in the time past where we used to, take a look at secondary school, primary school, we go out there, hunt some good talent out there because that is where you go and catch them young. The catch them young system seems to be, outside of the equation right now because our schools' talent are not properly harnessed and the educational sector to see that this thing become his experience from his school at tender age. That is how he became a ball boy, and at the end of it all, he became one of the superstars that nobody could forget in a hurry. What Michael Owen did for Liverpool, did for even Manchester United as well. So for me, there is need for us to go back into that sector and be able to develop sport generally. When we have to channel our energy back to the secondary school, back to the primary school, organize a strong competition out there that even the governors of the state, ministers of different categories in this country, we want to also grace that occasion in the final day or the kickoff day of such school competition.
And look forward to see, of course, school sports coming back, just like the sports minister has stated, we pray that, this particular initiative will see the light of for the day. Talents, of course, have been discovered during the school sports, section. But these days, the school sports is not really active, and the new sports minister, talking about John Wan, is really much interested in reviving school sports down here in Nigeria. So we'll keep our fingers athletics on the show as World 100 meters hurdle record holder Toby Amuson, 400 meters barrier runner Nathan Ezekiel, and middle distance runner Edosie Ibadan have qualified for next year Olympic, just as World Athletics has launched its tracking qualification tool for the Games. And the Road to Paris qualification tool launched Monday by World Athletics is an online tool to help athletes, media, and fans to track qualification process for next year's Olympic. According to World Athletics, the tool provide a real-time view of each event over the course of the Paris qualification period, and the qualification system opened last July 2023 and will close in June 2024. Amusen, who actually got 12.32 run last month at the Diamond League final in Oregon, where she successfully defended a 100 meters hurdle for the second time, reconfirmed what would be her third trip to the Games. Edosie Ibadan secured his spot at the end of July when he ran 1 hour 44.65 seconds to set a new Nigerian record in the 800 meters, while Nathaniel punched his ticket at the World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary, around 48.47 seconds. But both Ibadan and Nathaniel will be seeking to make their debut at the Quadrennial Games. What do you make of this one, Michael? It's been an impressive one. Toby Amuson, Nathaniel, and Ibadan.
One for the future in one of those three Nigerians that have made it to next year's Olympic Parade. And for Nathaniel Bassi, he did extremely well at Budapest, that he just concluded the game out there, where he set very impressive record for himself out there. So for me, I think it's a good one for Nigerian Athletic Federation, just like I said, having to know that these three athletes from Nigeria have also gotten the automatic qualification for next year's Olympic out there in Paris. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and see some other of our notable athletes out there to go all the way as well to get some of the tickets, so that we can have a large contingent heading there next year. Because if we have a large contingent in such a very big showpiece, I think for me it's a good advantage to Nigeria. But as it stands, considering our poor performance at just concluded the game at Budapest, where we did not do extremely well. For me, it was a disappointing outing for Nigerian contingent at the Budapest out there. So for me, as we came back from that dismal performance, have we been able to take some appraisals about the performances of our athletes out there? So, and I think the answer is no. Since they concluded the game at Budapest, have we taken a proper appraisal of how our team or our contingent actually performed out there? No, because I haven't had any reports regarding the evaluation of our team performances out there. So for me, I think though I will cut, the sport minister some slack out there, because it's just barely a few weeks before he came into office, but nevertheless, I will still say that he has a whole lot of responsibility in his shoulder. Before you can be taking such a big appointment, then definitely you know that a whole lot of things, a whole lot of challenges and tasks is expected of you. So for me, I don't think we've prepared pretty well. And this is the time for us to start preparation in earnest, because oftentimes we are always used with this fire brigade approach. After we go for a major competition,
get high numbers of medals, like when you see the likes of the United States of America, in the Olympics, the Japanese, and the rest of them. Of course, you see them, gathering huge amounts of medals, at the end of the day. And you see them stay top, on the medals table.
Yeah.
But Nigeria, of course, we don't really participate in some other sports, like that. We just participate, let's say, athletics. The last time we saw gymnastics as well as part of the sport. We saw wrestling. I think at some point we saw boxing, but it wasn't a very good outing, as it is. Do you think, we have to, expand when it comes to the number of sports, Nigeria will be participating in the Paris 24 Olympics?
Yes, we need to expand, but then again, I want to say that if we expand without making any positive impacts in those categories, if we try to expand, what difference does this make? It makes no difference. Other than, we are still running around a circle. I would like, for me, I would prefer that we channel our energy into our areas of comparative advantage. Look at the likes of Ethiopia and Kenya. They don't expand so much in other sporting arena where they want to venture into boxing, gymnastics, table tennis, taekwondo, and all that. No. What do? They just focus on their areas of a comparative advantage, which is distance to do well in that area. In boxing, why can't we focus on our energy? Because some time ago, the likes of Bash Ali that you hear, they all started from here and they make their marks. Till today, you are still hearing the name of Bash Ali. Then, for me, I believe that this is what we need to do. If it is 1 or 2 or 3 key areas, let us focus our energy in that area and see it as a place that we can be able to have that dominance. That whenever we head for any major competition, the world can look at us, just like the way they are looking at Kenya and Ethiopia when we talk about distance racing. They can do well. South Africa, of recent, their name is in the world map when you talk about hockey. They are there. With Sri Lanka and India. This is their area of comparative advantage. And they are making mark in that area. But like I said, in Nigeria, which area can you tell me that this is the area of Nigeria comparative advantage that we have maximized over the years? Nothing. So instead of trying to expand, fine, it is good that we try to spread our tentacles in different sporting arena, but we'll be like, a rolling stone that gathers no moss. Jack of all trade, but man of none. Why can't we master in just one particular area and say, yes, let us focus our energy in that area? But not also forgetting other areas as well, other sectors of sport as well. But let us have area where we say, yes, even if we are asleep, Nigeria, when it has to do with a warm-up, we can say, yes, this is the area that Nigeria is good in. So for me, that is it.
You've actually zeroed the strength of Nigeria in so many sports, even football as well, wrestling.
To do with football. When we want to go and rub our shoulder with other world in the area of football, don't forget, football, everybody is taking it like business right now. We might find it difficult. Well, why not we start from the area we know that, yes, wrestling, good. We can also go there. Boxing, we are good there as well. Swimming, if we develop, just like I said, very well, if we make use of what we have, we can do well in swimming. So in these 3 areas, wrestling, swimming, boxing, these are areas that, yes, we can do well. In athletics as well, don't forget, times ago, we have some names that have done us proud, when it has to do with athletics. But this doping issue, related issue, have tried to punctuate our effort when it has to do with global map. When we are talking about wrestling because of those doping issues and allegations here and there. And that has watered down the strength of Nigeria in that area. That is not to take away the fact that we still have some good and quality, talented athletes out there that can also go and do us well. But are they given the necessary support? Do they have what it takes to, organize one of the best sport facilities that these athletes can train with? No. What they do is that some of these athletes that we see that are doing us proud here, they start somehow here, manage with the little resources that we have, and boom, when they go crosses over to the overseas, they have better facilities to train with, and that is why you see them doing well. How many of them are based here in our home here, in Nigeria here, that you can say yes, they are doing quite well there? None. They will start gradually here, but before you know it, they'll go outside the country. There, they have a better facility to train with. And when you have a better facility to train with, then you can stand shoulder to shoulder with the world athletes, with anybody that comes your way. But at home here, you don't have those facilities to train with. So if you cannot afford those facilities, so that our young and hungry athletes can train on those world facilities, quality facilities, then you don't expect them to do well when the need arises. That is why I choose wrestling, swimming, and boxing, because in this area, at least we have what it takes, to do well in that angle.
So athletics is not, you don't think we can do well in athletics?
Athletics, we can do well, but not until some of the athletes go outside the country. Why? Because of the poor facilities that we have on ground. Not that we don't have the potential, not that we don't have the athletes here, not that we don't have the talents here, but the willpower of those behind the powers of authority to be able to erect or give us a better facility to train with. That is the problem. Not that Nigeria don't have the talents. We have them. But the facilities are not there. Thank God to the sport minister who, from his body language and the way he's going about his businesses, he came into office. He has shown some intent of sincerity that, yes, he wants to do this. He wants to get it right. But he should go beyond talking to doing. Because when we invest so much energy, we channel so much effort in talking rather than doing, then at the end of it all, we won't get any result. Before you know it, 4 years will pass by. Possibly the president might decide to go for another sport minister. So that is the case. Continuity is another problem. So for me, I think the sport minister should go beyond the talking, get down to action, put some facilities that are necessary on ground in different sporting arena, in boxing, in athletics, in swimming. Let us have the facilities on ground. That is when you truly know that Nigerians is truly blessed with talent all across Nigeria and beyond.
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Road to the Paris 2024 Olympic, of course, that's what we're looking at the moment. How prepared is Team Nigeria? Because some of our athletes, they've already picked, they've picked up the ticket for the game. But how prepared are we? We look forward to see how that one, of course, will be as the days, unfold to the game. But let's bring you this one coming from tennis award number 8. Carolina Muchova has withdrawn from the WTA finals in Cancun due to a right wrist injury and will be replaced by first alternate Maria Sakkari of Greece. Tour officials said yesterday. Now, Czech Muchova was the 8th player to qualify for the season-ending tournament after reaching the Cincinnati final and the U.S. Open semi-final round, losing to American Kokogov on both occasions. All right, at this point, we'll take a look at some games we saw in the NBA. But before that, the NBA season is set, to start. Of course, it started early as for today, and we saw some interesting matches. But we hear that Nigeria, 5 of Nigerian players, of course, in different teams, in the NBA, and that actually puts Nigeria on the map as, of course, a country that has produced, impressive NBA players. Michael, what do you make of this record, for Nigeria churning out, talents when it comes to basketball in the United States of America?
I think it's a great one and a plus for Nigerian team out there when it has to do with basketball. Note that Nigeria is also a force to be reckoned with in African basketball. And again, just like we are discussing that there is need for some of these world-class facility to be on ground for our athletes, our sportmen and women to train with. You discover that we have so much talent all over the world. You see the exploits that Nigerian players are doing out there in the NBA. It clearly tells you that Nigeria has the talent, they have the quality. I think this news is a welcome development to the Nigerian basketball federation. Only if we can maximize this opportunity by trying to look out for this few of these players that is also gaining this stardom out there. We have thousands and thousands of them that we have not heard their name. These are just the ones that just break into the limelight of recent, but we have thousands of them that are still there doing quite well. All they just need is that opportunity for them to showcase themselves into the world. So for me, I strongly believe that the Nigerian Basketball Federation need to, keep an eye, a close tab on this very one. Look out for them, not just when we have a major tournament, then invite them into the camp. After the tournament is done and dusted, then everybody goes his way. You don't even care about their welfare again. When next you need them is when we have a major tournament before you invite them. So for me, I think it's a great one, only if our federation can also build on this by making sure they get the best out of these players. When we are heading for a major competition, if we can assemble all these great players doing well in the NBA, tell me, who is that African country that can be able to stand against Nigeria when it has to do it? But is it Angola? How many players do they have in the NBA? And the strength of Nigerian basketball players was just shown in the recent, invitational tourney that we went, a few weeks ago, where Nigeria even defeated the likes of United States of America, who is a powerhouse of basketball. We also beat Serbia, convincingly. So if we continue to, take advantage of the enormous talent that we have cut across the world, and even in the NBA, then I bet you Nigeria will be flying. And it has to do with basketball in the nearest future.
All right, so talking about the games we saw earlier as of today, Denver Nuggets, of course, they continued their title defense on a very impressive note. They beat LA Lakers 119 to 107. Golden State Warriors, they start on a very, very bad note as they lost to Phoenix Suns by 108 to 104. Michael, what do you make of the results we saw early as of today in the NBA?
It's Nuggets. I mean, they have just started from where they started last season, and for the fact they also retain a majority of their star players as well is another big advantage for them, and they are also in shape. No one is on injury. The likes of Jamal Murray, the likes of Nikolai Jokic, who also put up a double figure yesterday. I think it's a massive one, and I see them dominating for a quite long time this time around because they've picked up where they stopped last season, and if they continue in this momentum, I still see them as a very strong. For Golden State Warriors, I think it's a bad start for them, but it is an early day to call for me right now because I still strongly believe that they have a strong point to make this season.
All right, at this point, we'll take a short break, and when we come back from this break, we'll move straight to the beautiful world of football. A whole lot to talk about as it concerns.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one, all of us.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains.
Welcome back as T-Sports personality, as T-Sports extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Let's quickly bring you the latest from the African Football League as the first semi-finalists for the maiden edition of the African Football League have been confirmed. Al Ahly of Egypt qualified for the semi-final for the African Football League following their 1-0 home draw against the Simba of Tanzania. The Egyptian giant progressing to the last four on superior away goal rule, having drawn the first leg in a 2-2 draw in Tanzania last weekend. They were joined in the semi-final by Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, who edged Petro Luanda of Angola 2-0 on aggregate. The second leg match held in South Africa on Tuesday ended goalless, and the South Africans had secured a 2-0 away victory in the first leg last weekend. Now, to determine other two semi-finalists, Esperance of Tunisia will face TP Mazembe of DR Congo, while Wydad Casablanca will take on Eyimba International of Nigeria in the other quarterfinal second leg Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. Michael, what do you make of this one? Al Ahly, of course, gets into the semi-final for the competition, taking down Simba. Mamelodi Sundowns, of course, also where they got through to the semi-final. I don't know what you make of the two teams that have actually made it to the semi-final in the African Football League.
Truly deserving to be there. You know, Al Ahly of Egypt, who has built a reputation for themselves as one of the finest, club football here in Africa. I think they have built that reputation for themselves. And the rate of the competition is very high this time around. It clearly shows you the quality that this North African team brings to bear when the need arise. And again, for me, I think their opponent also, they did their best. Talking about Simba of Tanzania, Al Ahly went away to play 2-2. Whereas in the reverse victor, Simba of Tanzania came to South Africa. Came to Al Ahly and played a 1-1 draw. Clearly tells you the high quality, the tempo of the game. And Al Ahly progressed courtesy of superior goal difference. That is why they had to, progress through. It clearly tells you the quality of these two teams. And again, the Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, beating Petro de Luanda of Cameroon away, 2-0. And at their own home, they could not even score a single goal because Petro de Luanda held them to a barren draw in their home. It clearly also tells you the quality that these teams, bring to the table. And I'm tempted to look at it vis-a-vis that of what our own dear Eyimba did at home here, where they could not be able to muster a win. Can they actually go away to be able to turn the tide? It is another question that left to be seen. But for me, I think Al Ahly and the South African team, they've truly deserved to go through in this very one because they showed class on a day that they needed to do so.
Of course, will comes tomorrow against Wydad Casablanca, and the question still remains: can they get past Wydad after they lost at home at the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium 1-0? Let's stay away from that, as we saw a Paris 2024 Olympic qualifying game today, as Super Falcons of Nigeria were held by 1-0 draw against Ethiopia. It ended 1-0 in that one, and Rashida Ajibade, of course, was the one who got the goal for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see how the Super Falcons, of course, will tackle the other encounter in the Paris 2024, qualifying matches as it is. Let's move on as to bring you some statistics as it concerns the UEFA Champions League matches. Yesterday we saw a total of 8 games being played in the UEFA Champions League last night, and 16 goals, of course, were scored across different centers. We saw 2 home wins and 5 away wins, 1 score draw. A total of 30 yellow cards, of course, were distributed across different centers, and no red card at all. Michael, what do you make of the statistics yesterday in the UEFA Champions League?
I think the statistics shows you the quality of what the UEFA Champions League football brings to bear. When we are talking about club football, this is the apex, this is the zenith of club football in the whole world. When we are talking about the Champions League, and the statistics clearly shows you that 8 games played last night, 16 goals scored, 30 yellow card without any red card. I think it was a very massive one. And one thing striking is that the referee, I must give them kudos. They were able to, hold their own in the center stage yesterday because, they were able to manage the game pretty well that, there was no any sort of controversy, unlike what we used to see at the Premier League. And I think I'm beginning to think this is where the Premier League, referees need to take a clue from, the referees of the Champions League, what they are doing out there, so that they end all this controversy, this unnecessary, controversy from VAR and the VAR officials out there. So for me, I think the statistics clearly tells you the quality of last night UEFA Champions League, where the referee were able to hold their own. The strikers as well, they were prolific in front of goal. 8 games, 16 goals scored. It clearly tells you that indeed they were up and doing. You can say that each of those games had average of 2 goals per game. That is why you had 16 goals in 8 games. So for me, I think it was a massive one. And we look forward to see that this kind of statistics continue in this way. And this kind of progress will continue. Spanish opponents away. And out of those 17 times, they have lost 11 out of those 17 times. They were able to draw 3 and won just 4. So heading into that match yesterday against Sevilla, I was a little bit skeptical if they are going to pull the, chestnut out of the fire. But truly, they did it thanks to one man, Gabriel Jesus, who put up a massive display yesterday. And I think it's a very morale boosting for Arsenal yesterday after they fell to the hands of Lens, 2 weeks ago. I think it's a great one for them to bounce back that yesterday.
Interesting one for the Gunners. In other result, Galatasaray lost to Bayern Munich by 3 goals to 1. Inter Milan beat Red Bull Salzburg by 2 goals to 1. FC Union Berlin lost to Napoli by 1 goal to 0. Benfica lost to Real Sociedad by 1 goal to 0. And Real Madrid beat Braga by 2 goals to 1. Manchester United to beat Copenhagen by 1 goal to 0. ROC Lens played 1-0 against PSV. Arsenal, of course, beat Sevilla by 2 goals to 1. But for today, we've seen some interesting games already, as Barcelona, of course, currently leading Shakhtar Donetsk by 2 goals to 0, and Feyenoord, of course, leading Lazio by 2 goals to 0 at the moment. Antwerp against against Porto tonight. That game comes up by 8 p.m. Young Boys, of course, will be national against Manchester City, and the game comes up by 8 p.m. Celtic will be national against Atletico Madrid by 8 p.m. as well, and we'll see Newcastle United against Borussia Dortmund by 8 p.m. Paris Saint-Germain against AC Milan comes up by 8 p.m. and RB Leipzig against West Ham by 8 p.m. Michael, Paris Saint-Germain, they've not been that fantastic this season in the Champions League. In fact, they were heavily trashed last Newcastle. And the game against AC Milan tonight, how do you see this one panning out?
Well, I think it's going to be a very tough game tonight, and I believe that is a blockbuster game tonight because this is one of the toughest groups in the Champions League grouping stage this time around. The likes of Newcastle, sitting at the top of that table with 4 points, closely followed by PSG 3 points, AC Milan 2 points. For me, I think it's going to be a very tough game tonight because AC Milan need all the 3 points so that to climb up the ladder. Whereas PSG knows that if they drop any point, it's a problem for them. So for me, I strongly believe tonight's game against PSG and AC Milan is going to be the blockbuster game. But I want to give it to PSG because they have the quality, they have the players to deliver. That is not to say that AC Milan doesn't possess all the quality that they need to deliver as well. But I strongly give it to PSG because
when
they
the
have
kind of performance we saw against Newcastle the last time.
I think they have learned their lesson. That is why I say that they are going to, up their ante this time around because I don't think they saw that display coming against Newcastle United. But having seen what Newcastle did to them, tearing them apart just like an ordinary team, I believe they have learned their lesson. And heading against AC Milan, who is also a European powerhouse when you talk about Champions League, they are no minors as well. I think they are up there because they know that if they fail to take their chances, AC Milan will punish them. Don't forget, this is another second most successful club when you talk about European competition, talking about the Champions League. They have won, the Holy Grail, a record 8 times. I think it is Real Madrid that have the upper hand against the AC Milan. They have a rich culture, a rich history when you talk about the Champions League. That is why I say that PSG AC Milan game is going to be a blockbuster game tonight.
Interesting one. Let's see how, of course, this one will pan out tonight. Promises to be another interesting night in the UEFA Champions League. Been an interesting time, of course, bringing you the latest revolving around the world of sports. We'll be back tomorrow by 9 a.m. Sports Talk to bring you the latest revolving around the world of sports. Which thanks to Michael for doing justice on the show this evening.
It's always a pleasure doing this with you, Casey.
All right, so we can't go without telling you that Toby Amusan, of course, he is our sports extraordinaire on today's edition of the show for picking up the ticket to the Paris 2024 Olympic. Despite the hurdles that she has actually faced this season, it has been a little bit rosy for her getting that ticket to the Paris 2024 Olympics. So with that, she is our sport extraordinaire on today's edition of the show. Don't forget, it's Unity with the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.